What's up guys? We're going to try something different for the vlog today. I'm going to take you on my Saturday morning routine. So because it's the weekend, it means it's my gym day, and I'm really only gymming on the weekends right now. I'm not going during the week because work is just a little bit too busy, and by the time I sign off, I just don't have the energy to put in a proper workout, so this is what we're working with. But first thing I do after I wake up is I'll go make a coffee, and then I'll bring it back to my computer and just enjoy it while watching a YouTube video. Nothing complicated. And then as far as food goes, I usually try not to eat anything before my workouts. I find for me, it just seems to take away from my energy levels. So I just avoid food in the morning, and it seems to work okay. So I'm gonna finish off this coffee, and then we're gonna get ready to go to the gym, and we'll see you guys there. I forgot to mention that this footage here is still being shot on the Sony FX30 with my Viltrox 13mm f1.4 lens. And I don't think I mentioned it before, but this camera is pretty bulky compared to other travel cameras I've used. But we're gonna try bringing this out to the gym with us, and we'll see how it goes. Here's the fit that we're going with today. Green shorts, drop arm tank, both from Gymshark. Alright, so we've made it here to the gym, and I'm just hanging out in my car right now, just kind of getting ready to go in there and do my workout. I'm still using the Sony FX30 here. I have the shutter speed set to 1/48th of a second, and my frame rate is 24 frames per second. So I'm trying to use the 180-degree shutter rule, which gives you more of a natural looking video. And in order to achieve this, because I'm outside, I have an ND filter on the front of the camera, and I think I have it cranked all the way up to ND32. So what an ND filter is it's basically like sunglasses for the front of your camera. So if your shutter speed stays constant and you have it low, like I have it set to 1/48, what's going to happen is when you walk out into like bright sunlight or bright conditions, you're just going to get a completely blown out image. Like your footage is going to be totally overexposed. So I'm trying out the ND filter to see if it helps with maintaining that 180-degree shutter roll. So I won't actually know until I go into post, but just on the screen as I'm looking at it right now, it looks pretty good. So it's about 11:39 right now. Probably going to spend a couple hours in the gym. My plan is to do a back workout, and then because I'm only here a couple days a week, I always try and throw in some other muscle group towards the end, but maybe not go too hard on that second muscle group. So probably do back and then legs at the very end. So I also brought my DJI Action 4, which I'm planning on taking into the gym with me. I don't think my gym has any rules about recording video in the gym. I've seen people setting up their cell phones before, but I've never actually seen anyone with a full-on camera. So we will see how it goes. And also, I don't really like recording in the gym. I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's like a little bit intrusive to the other people that are working out there. But I'm only going to have the camera pointed at me. If people walk around in the background, I mean, there's not much I can do about that. But yeah, let's get this workout started. All right, so I just wanted to mention one more quick thing. So I've noticed in vlogs, a lot of people record in their car. And I had no idea why people like to do that. Like I thought maybe it was to help with the story, to set the context about where they were going or where they were. But I just recorded my first video in a car, and I realized that it provides a really private setting for talking to the camera. Like there's a guy sitting in his car next to me on his phone. There's been people walking around. And for some reason, when I'm in my car, I don't really have any insecurity about talking to the camera. So it's just a really interesting observation that I made, and it might mean that you see more vlogs from me while I'm sitting in my car. It even feels more comfortable than recording at home for some reason. It might have to do also with the sound in your car, so there's not a lot of room for the sound to bounce off of, or like it's really contained within the cabin of the car. So when I'm talking, it like actually sounds really good just as I'm sitting here. Whereas if I'm talking at home, I can hear a little bit of an echo, and I'm sure the camera picks up a little bit of an echo too. But just an observation, car vlogs are okay with me now. Alright, so for this part of the video, I'm just going to do a voiceover so you can get an idea of what's going through my head as I'm doing the workout. So we started with the lat pull down machine, which you can see here, and this was my second set, I believe. I have the weight stack set to 120, whatever that means, and the form's looking pretty good. Like you can see, my torso isn't moving a ton, and everything looks like it's nice and tight, like I'm not rounding my back or anything, head's staying pretty steady. It's like I'm focusing on my back for this workout. And then I changed the weight from 120 to 180, which is my normal working set weight. And you can start to see that the form is not perfect here, but it's not terrible. And I think the angle of the video kind of makes it look a little worse than it actually is. So what I'm noticing is that on these reps right here, it's almost like I'm doing a bit of a crunching motion towards the bottom of the movement, which isn't what you want, because to me that tells me that my back is rounded, and I want it to stay arched or neutral. But yeah, it is what it is. Here I've changed the weight from 180 to 200, and you can see I try a couple times to get into the start position, but I'm just not heavy enough to pull the weight down. So what I end up doing is changing the height of the leg pads so that I can hook my knee under the pad to help me get into the start position, which you'll see in a sec. So that's great and all, but now the leg pad is too high. And what's happening is, because the weight's so heavy, it's pulling me up off the seat. And then when I pull the weight down, that I kind of come down onto the seat, but it's like extra movement or extra energy expended in the repetition that doesn't need to happen. So in total, on the lat pull down machine, I did 3 sets at 180, and then I only did the 1 set at 200. All right, so we've moved on to pull-ups now, and there's not a whole lot to say about pull-ups. They're really basic movement. I always like to throw them into my back workouts because I find them really effective for the kind of stuff that I'm trying to do. Like I want to build body weight strength, and then also I've noticed that they've helped add a lot of size to my back over the years. And now I'm doing dips for some reason. This is a tricep / chest exercise, but I find I have trouble staying still in between my sets when I should be resting. So this is what you would call a superset, where I do one exercise right after another. And then here we've moved on to a seated row machine. I think that's what it's called. It's not my favorite machine, but I kind of like it because it holds you in place, lets you really focus on squeezing your shoulder blades together at the top of the movement. So the difference between this machine and the previous 2 exercises you saw is, I think that this one works the center of the back a lot more, whereas the other 2 movements are more focused on working the lat muscles, which are like those wings that you see on people's backs, if that makes any sense. And then, like I said, I'm only at the gym a couple days during the week, so I try and do some other muscle groups as well. So here I'm doing a leg press machine, not going super heavy, and also my range of motion looks really bad from this angle. And also my butt is floating up off the seat, but I think that's intentional because I'm trying to flatten my lower back on the padding that's behind me instead of the padding that's underneath me. Alright, so we've changed up the camera angle so we can see what this exercise looks like from the side. And I think my range of motion looks better from this angle. Like, I don't have good flexibility to begin with, but yeah, I mean, sometimes I see people touching the top of their thighs to their chest, but for me, I just can't do that. Like, I'm gonna get injured if I go any lower, like, yeah, and I'm not trying to get hurt. Okay, so this last exercise here is a back extension, and it looks really weird. Like, it looks like I'm a robot. I don't really know why my hands are like that. I don't know what else my hands would be doing. So if you have any ideas, maybe leave a comment below. All right, gym session done. My thoughts on vlogging in the gym. So it's actually less daunting than it seems. So most people are like, I don't want to bring the camera out in public because people are going to look at me and think, what is this person doing? But the reality is, when I took my camera out in the gym and I set it up for my exercises, no one was even paying attention to anything I was doing. And in general, I think people in the gym just don't pay attention to what other people are doing. They're so focused on themselves. And I think in general, most people, when they're in the gym, they all have that same thought, like, everybody's looking at me, oh my God. But it's not actually the case because people are just so, turned inward. So I would say if you're thinking about, recording some stuff in the gym, don't be afraid. Some people are going to probably notice and wonder what's going on, but it's probably going to be more out of curiosity than judgment. And this kind of leads into the thought about people who are new to the gym and, a little bit afraid of trying, the gym out for the first time. Don't be afraid because, like I said, nobody is paying attention to what anyone's doing. And if they are paying attention, it's probably someone that's more experienced that wants to help you out. And I know not everyone wants to be approached in the gym, but that's the mentality that goes through somebody like myself who's been there for a while. If I see someone struggling with something or it looks like they're confused, I'm not going to let them sit in their awkwardness. I'm going to try and help them out if I can, or, just like not even look their direction because maybe they think, oh my God, that person is judging me. So yeah, don't be afraid. The gym's a pretty friendly place for the most part. And the one I go to, most people just keep to themselves, but everyone is super respectful. So I'm going to head home now and I'm going to make myself some lunch and then I'm just going to chill for the afternoon. My routine usually is I'll go home, I'll have lunch, and then the next thing I have after lunch is a beer, which is a little bit counterintuitive to what you would think for someone who likes fitness as much as I do. But honestly, I don't take fitness too seriously. I'm kind of at the point now where, I've put in a ton of work and I don't want to make any more sacrifices outside of that. Like I want to enjoy food, I want to enjoy drinks. So yeah, don't think too much into it. It's not that serious. So we'll see you guys back at home. Okay, so we're back home now and I'm just about to heat up my lunch, which is leftover pizza. And then, like I said, I'm gonna enjoy my beer afterwards and watch UFC tonight. So hope you guys enjoyed the vlog. Hope there was something interesting for you in there. I know I had a lot of fun doing it and I hope to do more of it in the future. So we'll see you guys next time.